All right, so here is the hunter build that I used to do this week's Master Challenge in Crota's End, which is the Abyss encounter. The challenge is to not enlighten more than one lamp per chalice preservation, which is a fairly easy challenge, and it's a fairly easy way to get yourself some adept raid loot this week. I've already done a quick build video on Titan and Warlock previously, all Strand builds because Strand is surging and Strand offers you grapple. Um, so you can check those two videos out. I apologize for the mic, the audio quality. Uh, I'm not even probably not even going to make a thumbnail for these videos. I just want to get them out there because there's only a few days left to do this challenge. And I'm just chilling on my couch with my PlayStation headset on. I'm not even, set up in the office with a proper microphone or anything. So I apologize for that, but regardless, I figured it'd be more valuable to at least put something out there as opposed to just either, waiting to the last minute until I have the time and energy to do a better video. It's kind of time sensitive, so I just want to get it out there. Which, by the way, if you like these videos or any of my content, I'd greatly appreciate a like or a subscription. I am a small channel, and I'd like to get to 1,000 subs at some point, so that I can potentially monetize and grow further from that point. But anyways, so this is my Hunter Strand build, which is actually very convenient because I already had a Strand. Basically, my Threadrunner build that I normally use on Strand Hunter is perfectly suited for the Abyss, whereas on my Titan and on their Warlock, I had to tailor a brand new Strand build for those encounters, um, like playing more into grapple and threadlines and stuff like this. But um, I figured that my standard Strand build, which actually I put up a boss build video um, on Seraph Shield, fighting the legend version of the Seraph Shield boss fight with this build. Not these weapons, but basically this build with the same exotic and I think the same fragments. But yeah, Sire Terracni's Facade um, doesn't get a lot of attention or hype from the community, I noticed, but I always use this on Strand. I just love it. If I'm going to use any class to grapple with Strand, it's Hunter, because you got Widow Silk, which creates a grapple point. It gives you 2 grenades as well, right? So you can grapple to make a grapple point, which normally like other classes can't do, right? You just grapple; it doesn't leave a grapple point. With Widow Silk, it creates grapple tangle. It creates a grapple tangle, which is basically, it's not a tangle that you can grab, but it's basically a grapple point. I don't know, the verbiage is kind of weird in the description here. But basically, yeah, you anywhere you grapple, it leaves a grapple point, which all your teammates can grapple to for free, which means they can just infinitely use their grapple on your grapple points, right? And without losing their grapple energy. And for me, with Widow Silk, having 2 grapples means that I can grapple once to make a point and grapple to it again to infinitely maintain my grapple. And then Whirling Maelstrom this is basically a hatchling style of ability for hunters, or threadling, because it is a fire and forget roaming, like it's automatic ad clear, right? You don't even have to, like, if you get a Whirling Maelstrom going somewhere, or Beyblade as people are calling them. Those toys were more like my kids' generation, so I didn't really know about Beyblades when I was a kid, but I think my kids may have had Beyblades. But yeah, basically you can have one of these going, and then that'll take care of ads for you, and you could just focus on getting through the encounter and doing your job. So very good for that. So when you destroy a Tangle, it turns into a Beyblade, and it unravels everything and therefore creates more tangles, and you could just have infinite Beyblades always. And while it is doing damage to targets, which is a good amount of damage, and unraveling them, it is going to be giving me tons of grenade energy. So I never have to worry about having grapples, right? Like I have a grapple point, and I also have 2 grapples and infinitely feeding threat of generation with my whirling maelstrom and any damage that I do. Which is why like tier 8 discipline is way more than enough discipline on this build. Like I would say 100 is overkill. You can probably get away with tier 5 or tier 6 discipline and never be without a grenade on this build. Then with Sire-Tarachni's Facade, keep in mind that whenever I do grapple, anytime I use my grapple at all, I get Woven Mail. So it means that I pretty much always have Woven Mail with this build, which means I don't need to use Thread of Warding. You could if you want, but you don't really need to, especially with all the damage resistance that you already have from Sire-Tarachni's and the uptime on your grapples. Don't really need it. The other fragments that I'm using here, Thread of Isolation, okay, like this you can take out. This was mainly for my previous boss build video or other content, but you're not really going to be focusing on landing rapid precision hits against single targets to sever them, except for maybe the champions at the end at the bridge. But with 6 of you focusing on champions, like the champions are usually dead before you can even snap your fingers. So Thread of Isolation is definitely not necessary here. You can switch that out for whatever you want, like maybe Thread of Ascent, right? For the extra 10, but actually that's 100%, that's what I would do. Whenever you grapple, you automatically reload all your weapons. You get 10 more mobility, which means you move faster, you get more dodges. Yeah, definitely use that instead for this encounter. Power melee final blows, so anytime I use my grapple melee or my threaded spike, I get unraveling rounds on their weapons, which is nice because my unraveling rounds last longer because of threaded continuity. Which also, you know, benefits from Whirling Maelstrom. Whirling Maelstrom is an unraveling machine. My weapons are unraveling, so Thread of Continuity is mainly for the uptime on Unravel from those abilities. Right? It's not for uptime on Suspend. On my other build, like where I was running Isolation for Sever, then Thread of Continuity would be benefiting both Unravel and Sever, giving them increased duration. But I don't need Sever really. I do have Sever from Threaded Spike, however, so if I really need to sever something, I could. But the main point here is that Thread of Continuity is making stuff unravel for longer durations. So that's basically the build. The weapons here are Quicksilver for anti-barriers, a fusion rifle for the Unstoppables, a sword to sword skate around the map and block damage for, you know, damage resistance on the fly, as well as both of these Strand weapons to create hatchlings or threadlings. One day I will stop interchanging those two words, but hatchling is the perk. The weapon perk, Threadling is the actual minion ability. For the combat mods, same as my other, pretty much the same as my other builds. Harmonic Siphon for orbs, Heavy-Handed for orbs from Grapple Melee and Threaded Spike. I like my weapons to feel good, so targeting, reloader. Resist mods, this should be Arc, not Void, so Arc, Concussive, Melee. Can't really go wrong with that. The fact that my stats were so good on this build that I was actually able to afford Concussive and Melee and an Arc Resist all on the same without sacrificing too many stats. That's like, yeah, you definitely don't need Thread of Warning if you can stack all these resist mods on top of like having Woven Mail from grappling. Threat of Warning is not going to benefit you anything, I don't think. But if I do pick up an orb, I get some instant healing, which is always nice, and I got 18% more damage from double strand weapon surge mods. Yeah, so it could run font focus, but I find it's not really necessary. 18% damage bonus to strand weapons is just kind of nice. Time dilation for 15 seconds per armor charge of surges. So if I have all 3 stacks of armor charge on this build, I got 45 seconds of extra damage. Powerful attraction, dodging. I love powerful attraction, but especially on Hunter, because you can just kind of like get into an area where there's some orbs, dodge out of it. You can get into a spot where you might be a little bit vulnerable, dodge to get some instant healing and get your armor charge, and then you're out of the situation very quickly. With Bomber for more grenade energy, and that is pretty much it. So if you enjoyed, let me know, and I will see you in the next video, which will be a quality video with a proper thumbnail and good mic audio. But like I said, I want to put something out there because you only have this week to do the Abyss, and then you got to wait another 4 or 5 weeks before the Abyss rotates around. And if you didn't know how to get adept weapons or how the farm works, basically you can do this master challenge once per character per week. So you can do it more, obviously, but you're only going to get 3 adept weapons per week. They're on a knockout system, so you can get 3 different adept weapons this week. 2 different, though I think there's only 5 Crota weapons, so you will get, if you do the challenge for the first 2 weeks, you will have all weapons in adept variants, and then hopefully you get some god rolls on yours. I was deeply disappointed with this, with my rolls on this Fang of Virute, so I will not be enhancing this. I personally want like a hatchling one or a shoot to loot or something, but it is a very good scout rifle. Being a rapid frame, it feels good, almost like an assault rifle, like with the automatic firing at the rate that it fires, almost like an AR. Just with much more precision and a little bit better damage, precision damage, that kind of stuff. But yeah, you can change up your barrels and your perks at the crafting table once you fully enhance or level up your weapon, which you have to spend spoils and alloys and cores and shards and glimmer, soon no longer shards. But you can't change these 2 perks. You can only change these for not just the 4 that are here. You could pick at the crafting table, you could pick all available barrels, all available mag options. And then you have the option to enhance these 2 perks. You cannot change the perks. So I will not be enhancing this one, but hopefully you get something good. And yeah, let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. And I'll leave a dim link in the description for the build, so that you can just equip this and just go get this challenge done this week. Anyways, yeah, hope you enjoyed. See you next time.